What are these two freaking hooligans doing here in Hermitron Hall, Cyberdogs? Mumbo and Iskall just causing a freaking ruckus, waking up the neighbors, messing up the lawns, breaking the flowers? I mean, honestly, who throws a shoe? Greetings, Cyberdogs and citizens of the interwebs. This is ReNDoG coming at you from the MumboJumbo Hermitron extension chamber in another episode of Minecraft Survival from the Hermitcraft server. Hope you guys are having a fantabulous day wherever you are in the world right now. I'm having a wonderful Friday morning. I thank you guys for asking. It's been a great week on the Hermitcraft server. The Hermitron game is really starting to kick off on the server now. The Hermits are really enjoying it, really getting into it, and getting kind of competitive, man. It's actually kind of sweet. I've been watching the chat over the course of today, and a lot of Hermits are trying to do some trading with each other and trying to find ways to get those mythic Hermitrons in their bellies, because of course earlier on this week we changed the rules a little bit of Hermitron, didn't we? We made it so that Hermits have to collect a full set of Hermitrons to get points, and there's no other way of getting points other than that, and I think that's really brought the game to life. I think it's been a really good change, and guys, I can't wait to show you some of the amazing new plots that have gone up in Hermitron halls. Oh my goodness, we got a couple of new players who have really put their back into making some incredible Hermitron collection plot thingies, and I'm going to show you that in a moment, man. But yeah, here I am digging out another chamber. Got a message on Discord this morning from the MumboJumbo who said to me, Ren, why don't I have a plot in the Hermitron halls? I want to play Hermitron. And it's actually one of the comments that has been most frequent on my Hermitron episodes. You guys have been saying, what about Mumbo? What happens if Mumbo wants to play? There's no room for him in Hermitron halls. And yeah, that is true, man. There was no room for Mumbo in Hermitron halls, but I've been chatting with him, and we're going to get him a chamber right here so that he can actually start playing the game. Going to be doing this over the next few days or so. But in the meantime, I think Mumbo's set up a temporary Hermitron wall here in Iskall's a little beautiful plot area. I'm going to show you guys that in a second. But today, my friends, we're not going to be focusing on Hermitron too much because, man, we've been grinding the Hermitron project pretty hard over the last couple of episodes. Today, I want to head over to the Lush Mesa biome. I have been really inspired by the new concrete block that we've been given, or should I say the concrete powder block that we've been given in 1.12. And I want to do a little bit of experimenting with that block in my Lush Mesa biome. It's one of our last outstanding projects for season number 4 is to finish the Lush Mesa biome. And well, today we're going to be laying down some blocks, doing some terraforming. It's going to be freaking gorgeous. Before we get to that though, guys, let's go take a look at some of the amazing things going on in Hermitron halls. Well, when Mumbo of the Jumbo said he wanted to play Hermitron, he certainly wasn't messing around, Cyberdogs. Take a look at his collection already. Jeez, it is looking insane. Not only has Mumbo found 2 mythics, one from Tribe 5 and one from Tribe 8, old Rodney Endbringer over here, but he has almost completed the entirety of Tribe number 8, the Light Source tribe. He literally just needs 2 more of those Hermitrons to complete that tribe and get 5 points. Plus, he's got Tux over here from Tribe number 5, which is a bit of a bargaining chip that he could use for whoever is collecting Tribe number 5. So Mumbo, dude, you're off to a freaking flying start over here. Looks like Iskall's doing pretty good on the Sapli tribe too. Check out this, man. He's got Darlog, Simba, he's got Jarzan, Oka, Spruce Lee, and Milkwood from the Logfella tribe, I guess it is. And he's got the mythic. He's got Prickles from tribe number 10. That means that Iskall is literally 2 Hermitrons away from completing tribe number 10 and scoring for himself another 5 points. And guys, I know you guys have been shouting at me so hard, man. You Iskalians out there. Jeez. Take a look at this. Iskall has actually completed a full set of Hermitrons. It's tribe number 0, the Sphere tribe. He's got every single one, including the mythic Aimaru. That means Iskall gets 5 points. So, Iskall, there are your 5 points. Boom. And now we're going to move it over into the scoreboard so that we can get Iskall's scores in place on the scoreboard. So that's freaking awesome. Good job, Iskall and Mumbo, man. Rocking it up. Something fierce, baby. Looks like Wells is still going for that flower tribe, and looks like False is still waiting to get that mythic from Tango. Let's see if she can actually get it from him somehow. Speaking of Tango, guys, oh my goodness. Tango was not messing around when he said he was going to make an amazing plot. Take a look at this. This is a pretty freaking ridiculous. You are an absolute mentalist, Tango. How beautiful is this plot? We've got a couple of wither skeletons hanging out here in the fire. The guardians, I guess, of his Hermitron collection. If we come in here, we've got a door that brings us in. And I believe there's a little bit of music that plays or something. Or some lights turn on. I don't know. Oh, there. Holy goodness, that was epic. And these freaking mosaic blocks are so beautiful. And I think Tango's collection is all the way down here. Yes, here it is. Look at this. Oh, this is epic, man. Oh, man. Okay, hang on. What's happening? This is kind of frightening right now. That is a lot of noise happening. We can't actually see very much in here. I'm sorry, guys, but let's have a look at what Tango's collected. Looks like he's got quite a few Hermitrons from... I can't actually see the name tags on. That's 7. Is this from 7? Oh, that's from 7 too. He's got 3 from 7. And a couple from 9, it looks like it. He's got Darragaz the Igniter, the mythic from tribe number 9. Okay, so Tango is going for tribe number 9. He's also got the Explorer, which is the mythic from tribe number 12, and Solar, the mythic from tribe number 1. So it looks like Tango is kind of, I suppose, stocking up on the mythics. That seems like an interesting strategy. Also, this map over here is kind of cool. That's the Explorer, and when he's placed it onto the item frame, it's actually made the map. And there's a freaking woodland expansion there, or a woodland mansion. So that's pretty awesome. Unbelievable plot, Tango. I'm loving this, man. Can I actually get out of here? Hold on. Let's hit the button. Jeez. Okay. Wait a minute. This is kind of tricky to get out of. Okay, there we go. Cheats. Trapped in Tango's plot of doom, man. This place is absolutely amazing. Nice work there, Tango. Going for those mythics, I see. Interesting strategy. Also, door is pretty dangerous. Okay, there goes the booping again. Let's get ourselves out of here. Jeez. I'm kind of scared of this plot, man. It's deadly. Nice work, though. Love it. Now, take a look at Tango's neighbor here in Hermitron Halls. It's Good Times with Scar's spaceship, or a flying saucer. How freaking awesome is this thing? Using the new freaking blocks also, those beautiful, beautiful flat color blocks. And take a look at that, man. Take a look at those crop circles down there. Isn't that amazing? Freaking Scar's spaceship hovering above a freaking crop circle infested field. I love it, Scar. This is amazing. Scar's working on some pretty cool stuff in Minecraft with regards to spaceships and stuff. So this is just epic. Let's get down here and take a look at his little space vehicle. This is awesome. He's got chairs for all of his crew members. I guess this is the warp core or something in the center. And Scar's got a nice little collection going on over here. Let's have a look. Does Scar have a mythic yet? Doesn't look like Scar's found a mythic, but quite a few rares, actually. And a lot of Hermitrons from tribe number 7. Wow, a lot of Hermitrons from tribe 7. So Scar's doing pretty fan-freaking-tastic over there with his collection. So nice job, Hermits, on really going freaking crazy with Hermitron this week. Really impressive. Looks like old Cub fan over here in his beautiful plot is also on the way to completing tribe number 3. He's got the mythic for tribe number 3. And how many? Oh, geez. He is, oh my goodness, he is 1 Hermitron away from completing tribe number 3, and I think he needs the Witherling, which I think Exuma has, so interesting to see how that's going to pan out, how Cub's going to get the Witherling from Exuma. Fantastic, man, I love it. This is so awesome. I think Joe and TFC still hanging in there, Joe trying his best to find a mythic. I think Joe is also missing a mythic at the moment, so it's all about the mythics at the moment. Now, let's, of course, get Iskal his points. He's been shouting at me on Skype. There you go, Iskal. Geez, 5 points for you, okay? I think Cubfan is still in the lead with 6, though. So we're going to have to see what happens this week with the Hermitron game. But yeah, amazing work from all the Hermits. Thanks, guys, for playing and being so freaking inspired to actually collect those boosters and actually get trading. And can't wait to see what happens next week in the game of Hermitron. Now, before we get down to some serious block placage in the Lush Mesa biome, I want to say a big thank you to all of you Cyberdogs out there who have been consistently sending me the same freaking comments in every single video for the last week or so. Jeez, you guys are super persistent, man. But you know what? I really am thankful for those comments because they remind me of the things that I need to do. And the top 3 comments that I think I've received over the last 2 weeks or so. Number 1, let MumboJumbo play Hermitron and make him a freaking plot in the Hermitron halls. Number 2, get your butt back to the Mesa Biome and finish the game, you butthole. And number 3, you forgot Iskal's points in the Hermitron game, you idiot. You're such a fool. Those are pretty much the 3 most popular comments that I've got over the last few episodes. And thank you guys. You guys have been inspiring me, man. And as you can see, I've completed 2 of the 3 requests. Number 3, of course, is the Mesa Biome. I wanted to give you guys a quick update of what's going on out here. Don't worry, things are actually progressing. Last night on stream, I completed the entrance into the grove that was burnt down by lightning a couple months ago. And I promise you guys I'm going to finish this thing, okay? I'm probably not going to do it in videos, but I'm going to get it done, maybe get it done on streams. So if you want to come and hang out and see that pain happen, twitch.tv/ReNDoG Oh man, it gets me super salty working on this because I just think about how much work got burnt down. Anyway, there's something else I want to show you here too, which is going to get your inspirational juices flowing. Iskal recently updated his side of the Mesa Biome, and isn't it beautiful? Concrete powder, baby. This is what I'm talking about. This is what has got me inspired today, and I can't wait to start working with some of this jazz. Can I take to the air? Ah, thank you. There we go. So take a look at this. Iskal has completely transformed his side of the Mesa Biome, and I think it just looks absolutely stunning. I love it, and I'm super inspired now to complete my half of this game and to hopefully get this thing fired up before the end of Season 4. And look at that lava just coming out the side there. I just noticed that now with the magma cubes. Oh, that is freaking awesome. Unbelievable. Beautiful work, Iskal. Okay, one last thing to show you guys, and then I promise we'll start placing down some blocks in the Lush Mesa, okay? But I am super, super pumped about the Hermitron booster box shop. We set this up last time together, didn't we? And I gotta tell you, man, the profits are starting to roll in. ReNDoG has started to get the bling blangs for all of the hard work on the Hermitron project. Makes me super happy over here. Take a look at this. Let's take a look at the sales right now. Exuma bought his, which is beautiful. Who's this? Scar hasn't bought his yet. Cub hasn't bought his yet. Wells hasn't bought his yet. Okay, so 10 diamonds so far. Not too bad. Tango hasn't bought his yet. Impulse has not bought his yet. Mumbo has taken his, but not paid for it. Jeez, Mumbo, you owe me 10 diamonds, bro. It's good that you're playing, though. But still, you owe me freaking 10 diamonds. Jeez, how rude. Anyway, let's take a look on this side. Iskal has bought his. Fantastic. False hasn't bought hers yet. TFC hasn't bought his. And Joe has bought his. So, we've made about 40 or 50 diamonds from the shop this week, which is fantastic. But I really want the freaking Hermits to buy their packs, man, so they can crack open some more boosters, find some more mythics, and start building up their collections in the Hermitron halls. Hopefully they'll get the message. Maybe most of them don't actually know about the shop yet, but I'll spread the word on Discord, see if we can get a few of them to purchase them and go searching for their Hermitron boosters. Anyway, super happy with that, man. And yeah, thanks for all of the love about the shop in the previous episode. You guys absolutely loved it, and I love it too. It's freaking gorgeous. Friends and fans from all over the world, I cannot tell a lie. I've been looking forward to this moment all week freaking long, baby. Just sitting down, playing some Minecraft, hanging out with my Cyberdogs, and telling you guys a story. I have been grinding like crazy off camera this week, guys. Pulled off an insane prank on Iskal85 on the Hermit Pack server. If you guys haven't watched that yet, please go check it out. I'm so proud of that prank. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll stick a link in the description box below for you. But I've also been grinding here on the Hermitcraft server, getting the Hermitron game up and running for everybody and making sure it's ticking over, fixing stuff, building stuff, making the Hermitron booster box shop. It's been a grindy week for ReNDoG, man, and I just want to place down some blocks with you guys today. It's this block over here that's got me all inspired to do this, man. This is brown concrete, and ever since we set up the Hermitron booster box shop, I've been thinking about ways to make this block work. And Iskal told me about brown concrete powder used in terraforming, and I thought he was crazy, but then I placed some down here in the Lush Mesa, and I think you guys will agree, man. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. You know, for me, the Lush Mesa is a great build. I love it. It's gorgeous. But there's always, for me, been something missing. A block in the palette to tie the whole room together. The Lebowski block, should we call it, that brings the whole freaking place together. And I think that I may have stumbled across that block in this beautiful brown concrete powder. I want to spend a little bit of time with you guys today in the Lush Mesa. This is one of the things I want to get finished before the end of Season 4. And I want to start doing some serious terraforming. So why don't we work on this section of the Lush Mesa here today? I've got everything that I need with me. I've got them in these shulker boxes that are conveniently colored brown and green. Take a look at this. Brown for all of the dirt and all that jazz. Green for all of the foliage and everything that we need. And this should pretty much be everything that we need right now to get going on a bit of terraforming. Before we do that though, let's make a whole bunch of this beautiful brown concrete powder. And yeah, this is going to be fantastic. Guys, I wanted to tell you guys a little story today, man. Hermitron's got me thinking a lot about my youth. A lot about when I was a kid and when I first started playing an amazing game called Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering is the game that inspired the Hermitron game for me. And it is a collectible card game, one of the world's oldest collectible card games, and probably one of the world's most successful and popular card games. It's very nerdy, okay? It's got a whole bunch of dragons and fireballs and lightning spells and wizards and all that sort of jazz in it. It's super nerdy, but it is fan-freaking-tastic. The first time I was ever introduced to Magic the Gathering was by my younger brother. We were on holiday at the seaside once when I must have been about 11, I guess. And my younger brother and his friend were staying, well, his friend came to stay with my younger brother, and he brought with him all of these Magic cards. My brother and his mate were playing Magic all holiday long. ReNDoG was going to the beach to do some surfing and do some fishing, and these two nerds were sitting in the house playing Magic, and I don't know, man, I used to sit there and watch them play. I had no idea what was going on, but there was something about the game that really appealed to me as a younger ReNDoG, and I wanted to get into it, and I wanted to know what it was all about. And one day I sat down with them, they taught me the game, and I was hooked, baby. I was hooked, hook, line, and sinker, so to speak, and ever since that holiday, I've been playing Magic my entire life, never gave up. I've stopped playing Magic every now and then for a few months here and there, for a year here and there, but I've always gone back to the game, and I think I'll probably play it for the rest of my life because I absolutely freaking love it, man. But today I wanted to tell you the story of one of my proudest moments in Magic the Gathering. It was, well, probably mostly down to luck, because this story goes way back to when I was about 12 or 13 years old. I'd just started getting into Magic quite seriously in the city that I used to live called Johannesburg in South Africa. And there was a little shop that was quite close to my house. It was actually close enough for me to walk, which is pretty awesome. And I used to go there on Saturdays to play tournaments in this little shop. Now, for those of you guys who know about Magic or who play Magic yourselves, you will know that most Magic is played in very sort of dingy dungeons and sort of really dodgy like gaming shops and stuff like that. It's not exactly a fantastic spectator sport, so to speak. You know, it's not played in giant stadiums or anything like that. It's usually in some seedy, nerdy basement somewhere, which is one of the things I love most about it, actually. This podzol looks pretty good with this block too, right? I think the contrast might be a little bit too high though. So yeah, I think I'll probably change up the podzol. Just wanted to see what that looked like, but I know that just normal dirt is going to look pretty beautiful next to it. Yeah, I love that, man. Anyway, I used to play every Saturday at this little shop just down the road from me, and on Saturdays we used to have these tournaments. Now, when I used to play there, I was young, man. I was like 12 or something, right? I was just a little kid. But when I first started going there was a group of kids there that I used to play with that we were all about the same age, and we always used to sit together and play games, play Magic together in the shop. And there was another group of peeps who were a little bit older than us, and they were kind of like the serious players, right? These were like the guys who were trying to qualify for the Pro Tour and who took Magic really, really seriously, had really expensive decks, had all the best cards, were really good at the game. You know, these guys didn't mess around, man. They were there to win. And we were the nerdy kids playing in the corner with our elves and fairies, and they were playing with these like perfectly honed and designed decks designed to beat anything that they came across. You know, playing to the meta game and all of that freaking pro gaming jazz. Where did I put my shulker boxes? Jeez, I'm losing my mind. Oh, they're up there. They're like camouflaged. Anyway, these guys were pretty much undefeatable by us young nerds. I mean, we were just making decks for fun, you know. We weren't thinking about competitive strategies or anything like that. We were literally just, you know, playing Magic, having fun, collecting cards with each other, trading with each other, having no idea the value of cards either. You know, I would just trade a dragon with someone because, well, he liked the way that my dragon looked and I liked the way that his giant troll looked, you know. That was basically the extent of our trading. You know, I'll give you this troll for that dragon. Yeah, that sounds like a good deal without actually knowing whether the cards were good or not, right? Is this working for you guys? I think this is working real good for me. I'm telling you, man, once we get a little bit of foliage on top of this block, I think it's going to come to life. Anyway, this tournament, as I said, was dominated by these older players, these way more experienced players. There was one player in particular who was kind of like the mythic rare of the group, right? Kind of like the best player in the city, probably one of the best players in South Africa, and certainly had the most expensive deck in the whole country. We were playing a format called Legacy at the time, or no, it was Vintage, I think is what it was called at the time. And basically what Vintage is, what it means is that you can play with any card that has been printed in the game. Magic has these sort of variations where the cards that you can play with are sort of restricted to certain time spans of the game, right? And Vintage is a time where, or a time span where people can play with any cards. And that means they get to play with the most expensive cards that have ever been created. You see what I'm talking about here, guys? Look at this. Oh yeah, baby, you know it. You know it's starting to look good. Anyway, this guy, let's call him Nemesis, okay? Mostly because I can't remember his name, but let's just call him Nemesis for the sake of argument. Nemesis had the most expensive deck, probably that I have ever seen, actually, and certainly that I had ever seen in South Africa at that stage. And his deck was so expensive because he had a bunch of, well, I guess you could call them mythic rares, but they were more than that. They were really old cards that had never been reprinted before. And to give you an idea of the value of cards like this, his deck contained a card called the Black Lotus. For those of you guys who don't know what Magic is, the Black Lotus is basically the most expensive Magic card there is. In fact, a mint condition Black Lotus card fetches up to $30,000 on the marketplace. Can be even more than that, actually, depending on the condition of the cards. And his deck contained a Black Lotus. It also contained the Power 9, which is Magic's most expensive, or 9 most powerful and basically most expensive cards in the game. Oh man, that's looking awesome. So his deck was, you know, the value of his deck was pretty much, you know, he could buy a freaking car with that deck, man. It was absolutely insane. He used to keep it in like this metal safe when he came to the club, and you know, he wouldn't let anyone touch the cards or anything like that. He was a little bit of a butthole, if I'm honest with you, but I understand he was protecting his assets. And he definitely didn't want any greasy 11-year-old fingers all over his expensive cards, you know. Anyway, he used to play, when we used to have vintage tournaments at our club, he used to play with this deck, and he used to just annihilate us, right? I mean, we were sitting there, like, you know, playing with dragons and trolls and stuff, and this guy would just kill us on turn 1. We had no idea what was going on. I remember playing him, and I wouldn't even know how I died. I would sit there, like, with my deck, super excited to play, and I'd say to him, you know, because when you play Magic with other people, you talk and stuff, and you have a conversation, and he would ask me, oh, what deck you're playing today? And I'm playing with dragons today. It's going to be so awesome. He's like, oh, dragons, yeah, cool. And actually what he was thinking was, oh, easy win. And most of the time it wasn't easy win. He would just annihilate me and completely destroy me. And I wouldn't even like have a chance to play, man. I used to hate playing that guy, actually. It wasn't fun at all. Anyway, there was one particular tournament, though, that I will never forget, where the ReNDoG, well, let's just say that things didn't go quite so well for the Nemesis than he expected. He was very used to beating the ReNDoG in Magic whenever he played against me or whenever he played against anyone under the age of 18. But on that particular day, on that particular tournament, the stars aligned for me, and I don't know what happened, but I managed to do pretty well in that tournament. The night before that tournament, I was at my house with a friend of mine who used to play Magic, and we conceptualized an idea for a deck that we thought was going to be really amazing, that was going to be awesome. You know, we were going to be using things called shadow creatures. Now, it's pretty difficult to explain what a shadow creature is if you don't play Magic, but let me try and break it down for you. So basically, in Magic, you create creatures that attack each other and kill each other, and you use these creatures to like win the game and kill your opponent and eventually you know, take the victory. There are certain types of creatures in the game, of course, that can't really attack one another. So for example, a creature that flies, that has flying, cannot be attacked by a creature on the ground that doesn't have flying, right? Now, there is a creature type in Magic that has a keyword called Shadow. And what these creatures are, wow, this is getting nerdy. But let's do it, guys. We've started, right? We might as well go all the way. The nerdness has begun. Let's dig deeper, baby. Shadow creatures in Magic are basically exactly what they sound like. They are shadows. And the only way that a shadow creature can be attacked by another creature in Magic is by another shadow creature, which means they are pretty much invulnerable to any other types of creatures in the game. Now, this was a strategy that, we thought was going to do pretty well. Unfortunately, the actual shadow creatures in Magic, because they have such a powerful ability, they're actually quite bad. And, they're not really a competitive deck. But on top of that, people don't expect them. Because they're bad, nobody expects you to play with these sort of shadow creatures in Magic, right? And that was one of the advantages that I got when I rocked up at that tournament with my shadow deck. I'll never forget the day. It was a beautiful freaking day in Johannesburg. I woke up super early. I put brand new sleeves on my deck, protective sleeves on all of my shadow cards. I put them in my box. I got my collection ready for trading. I kissed my mama goodbye. I had my breakfast, and I walked down the road to the Magic Club to participate in this tournament, full of hope, full of desire to at least win a single game, because, well, to be honest with you, I hardly ever won any games of Magic when I was playing at that club. But this was going to be different. This day, I was going to win a game or two. Sat down at my first match in the dungeon. And when I say dungeon, guys, I mean dungeon. This was a tiny little shop, an absolutely tiny little Magic shop. And you had to go down these really dodgy stairs to get to the tournament center where we used to play. And it was literally a dank, moist, dark-ass dungeon. What was once, I guess, the storeroom of the shop before the Magic shop, right? And the shop owner had set up a couple of tables down there and, put a lamp in the corner and a fan in the other corner because it used to get super hot with no air conditioning or anything down there. A super sweaty and moist, dank place, guys. And not dank in a good way. Freaking just awful. Just nerd sweat is basically what it was. The nerd sweat center is what it should have been called. Anyway, rocked up there, and I'll never forget the day because the shop owner himself was looking a little bit crazy. I was one of the first ones to get there. I used to go there a little bit earlier before everybody else arrived, just to play a couple of casual games with my mates and chat with the other players there. And the shop owner was there with this like full-on medical gear on his face. It was pretty insane. Like his jaw had been dislocated out of his face, and he had this, like, what you see in the movies when someone's been hit by a car. They have that that giant rig on their shoulders that's like holding their head together. It was kind of like that. It was this giant metallic rig that was holding his face together. And I was absolutely shocked when I saw him. And the first thing that I remember when I saw him was, he must have been in a car accident or something. But when I asked him what had happened, he said that he had fallen down the stairs. Now, that's the kind of excuse that when you hear it, that's absolute beeswax, right? Nobody falls down the frickin' stairs and smashes up their face, And he was kind of a dodgy fellow. He had like really long, sort of very thin grey hair, very scraggly, looked a little bit like a mad professor, I guess. And there were a lot of rumors over the following weeks about what happened to him. One of those rumors was that he had gotten caught by his wife cheating on her with another woman, and she had beaten the absolute jazz out of him and smashed up his face. That was one of the rumors that got flying around the Magic Club at one point. I'll never forget that, man. Anyway, I remember his face was a complete mess, and he was there though, man. He was going to host that tournament come hell or high water, I'm assuming, of course, that his wife was waiting for him at home, and he would rather be hosting a Magic tournament than healing up in his bed, lest he face the wrath of his wife back home. Anyway, I rocked up there, I was chatting, doing a little bit of trading. And lo and behold, who rocks up to the tournament? Oh yeah, Nemesis. Now, let me tell you a couple rumors about old Nemesis. It was rumored in the club that Nemesis had sold his car, his fridge, his bed, his TV, everything that he had owned to buy this deck of Magic cards because he wanted to be a world champion. He wanted to compete in competitive Magic, and he was literally living on the floor, and the only thing that he had to his name was this Magic deck. So, he meant business, man. When he rocked up at a tournament, he was there to win because, well, he had nothing else to lose, I suppose one could say. Anyway, he rocked up, and I was chatting with him, and I asked him what he was going to play in the tournament, and he was like, well, the same. Why change your winning formula? Blah, blah, blah. The smack talk was starting. Even to a 12-year-old, he would smack talk. And, I knew instantly that I wasn't going to be able to beat him. But I didn't mind. I was like, okay, cool, bring it on. My goal that day wasn't to beat Nemesis. My goal was just to beat someone. Anyone. Just to win a game. The tournament room filled up, or should I say the sweat room, filled up with players, and everybody was getting ready. I need a little bit of sand over here. Everybody was getting ready to play, and we sat down and started to play. And the tournament, it would go on for pretty much most of the day. It was a great, great thing, actually. I would get out of my parents' hair and I'd just go play Magic all day long, right? It's like a freaking parent's dream. Anyway, the tournament started to progress. In the first round, I played against one of my good friends. And I whipped out my brand new Shadow deck. A deck I was so proud of. A deck that my friend and I were 100% certain would never lose, would be impossible to beat, because who can kill a shadow? If a shadow is attacking you, you are screwed, man. Jeez. Well, that's the nerd side of it, but in reality, the shadow creatures in Magic were pretty good, as I explained a little bit earlier. So I whipped out my deck, and lo and behold, I won the first round pretty easily. In fact, I won the best of 3 because the games were best of 3. I won game 1 and 2 within about 10 minutes. I just kicked my friend's butthole, man. I absolutely wrecked him. And suddenly, something clicked in the ReNDoG brain. Suddenly, ReNDoG was thinking, hang on, maybe, just maybe, I've stumbled across something pretty sweet here. Maybe this is a strategy that could take me all the way, baby. And I got super pumped up. Second round of the tournament came along. And guess what, guys? ReNDoG beat the next person too. Not only did I beat the next person, but I beat a person who was like 20 or 22, which means he was one of the competitive bunch. He was one of the guys that used to hang out with Nemesis. And I'll never forget the face of this dude when I beat him. He was playing, a strategy that was very weak against shadow creatures. It was extremely weak against creatures in general. But because my creatures were really hard for him to deal with, I basically was able to beat him quite easily. And I remember him losing, and the salt, my friends, the salt was real. I have never seen so much salt oozing out of the pores of a human being than when I wrecked that dude with my little shadow creatures. He went and sat down next to his nemesis friend, and I could just see how upset he was. And in Magic we call it a bad beat, when you get beaten by like a really noob deck, or you don't have very good luck and that beats you. We call it a bad beat. And I could see him whining and crying to Nemesis about his bad beat against this 12-year-old's noob shadow deck. Anyway, took that guy down to Chinatown, baby, and it felt amazing. I felt like $1 million after that victory. Not only had I won the first round, but I'd won the freaking second round also. And bear in mind, I don't think I'd ever won a game at a tournament up until that point, so I was just ecstatic. Anyway, the tournament continued. I played the next opponent, and as you guys can probably guess by now, I won that round too. And now at this stage, I was feeling like a pro. I was feeling like a Magic pro. I was feeling like I had broken the game open in twain, that I had discovered a strategy that was unbeatable. The reality of this situation, of course, is that the strategy that I had chosen was so rogue, so, bad, that it was actually good, if that makes sense. It was so bad that nobody was prepared for it at that particular tournament, and that gave me a very good advantage. Now, this is actually, this concept has become a thing in Magic. We call it the rogue deck strategy, and that's a strategy where you take a deck that nobody expects to a tournament, and that means that people are not prepared for it, and that gives you an edge over your opponents. So at that stage, I had just done it naturally by mistake. I'd employed this rogue deck strategy. Anyway, lo and behold, ReNDoG, 12 years old, zero clue how to play competitive Magic, found himself in the finals of this tournament. The very first time I'd ever made a finals in a Magic tournament. The very first time I'd ever actually done anything of worth in a Magic tournament was that day with my Shadow deck when I made it to the finals. And of course, as you guys can guess, who was going to face me in the finals? None other than Nemesis. There he sat down in front of me at the table with his super expensive deck in hand and a smug grin on his face. His mate that I had beaten a few rounds before had told him about my noob strategy, had told him about my noob deck, and I'm pretty sure that Nemesis was thinking to himself, that is the worst deck I've ever heard about in my entire life. I am going to wreck this kid, and I'm going to win this tournament easy peasy lemon freaking squeezy. That's what his face was saying. And I'll never forget it because I felt so intimidated by him. You know, I was sitting there thinking, how am I going to beat this guy? It's not going to be possible. You know, this is Nemesis, man. This is the most expensive deck in the country. How in the name of all that is holy am I going to beat him? Now, Magic is a game of skill, but it's also a game of luck. In Magic the Gathering, you have a deck of 60 cards, and you have to shuffle those cards, and to start a game of Magic, you got to draw 7 of those cards. That means that there is a chance that you draw 7 cards that don't actually work with each other and that don't actually function together. And you can actually take something called a mulligan in Magic, where you can pick up another 6 new cards. So instead of drawing 7, you draw a fresh new 6, but you lose a card in your hand. It seems to me like the gods were with the ReNDoG on that day, because old Nemesis shuffled up his cards. We sat down to play. I didn't shuffle my cards, of course, because, I mean, shuffling cards, who needs to randomize cards, right? That's just so boring and a waste of time. I just want to make my shadow creatures. Always shuffle your cards, guys. So I didn't shuffle my cards, you know, and that put another little smug grin on Nemesis's face, and he knew that I was going to draw bad cards. He shuffled up and he drew, and he had to mulligan. The cards that he drew were not good. And I think he probably knew that he needed to at least have a decent enough hand to beat what I was doing, because I wasn't doing nothing. I was doing something that would probably beat him unless he had some good cards. So he threw his cards back and drew 6. And guess what, guys? His face went from, I'm going to kick this kid's butt, to, oh no, what is happening right now? This can't be happening, because he had to take another mulligan. In fact, he had to take 2 more mulligans, and he took mulligans all the way down to 4 cards. So I had 7 cards in my hand. He had 4 cards in his hand. I think he was still confident, though, because his deck could probably very easily beat my deck, even with 3 mulligans like that. But for some reason, the stars aligned that day, and he started the game doing nothing. I started the game by making a shadow creature. He continued the game by doing nothing. I continued the game by making more shadow creatures, and within just a few turns, the Nemesis's life total, which is how you win Magic, was at 0, and I had won the first game. I'll never forget looking over at my friend who was watching the game. His jaw was literally on the floor. He could not believe that I had somehow beaten Nemesis in a game. And it was just crazy. It was a crazy moment for us little 12-year-olds. We couldn't actually believe what was happening. And I can't tell a lie, man. Nemesis was not happy. He was furious, absolutely raging. He started swearing. He started talking about how Magic is just a game of luck and how it's such nonsense, how he had to mulligan down to 3 and how he hates the game and how he wished the rules were different. Blah, 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 whining, raging like a little freaking kid. And I just sat there, didn't really know what to say. Gathered my cards up from the game that I had won, didn't shuffle them, of course. Maybe a couple of cuts here and there. But Nemesis shuffled up again. He shuffled up his cards, drew his 7, and we were on to game 2 of the best of 3. And lo and behold, once again, Nemesis looked at his 7 cards in his hand, and a freaking paleness flushed over him. The blood washed out of his cheeks as he put his cards back to take a mulligan once again. He drew his last 6 cards, or his 6 cards for his mulligan, and I could see in his face he thought, well, at this point my luck has got to get better. I've mulliganed 5 times in a row now, and this kid's deck is so bad, there's no ways that I can lose to him. Surely, I can keep these cards. He looked at his 6. He looked over at his friend, and he was not happy. He knew that he had to mulligan again, but At that moment, something happened in his brain, and I know exactly what happened. He decided that he was going to take a risk. He decided that my deck was so bad that he could probably beat me anyway, even if his hand wasn't very good. Well, that was a fatal error that Nemesis made that day, because he held on to those 6. And for the next 5 or 6 cards that he drew, he only drew what we call in Magic land. And land is basically something that produces resources for you, but doesn't win you the game. And for the next 6 draws that Nemesis made, he only picked up lands. And what did ReNDoG do? Well, I sat there across from him, whistling, happy little 12-year-old, enjoying just playing some Magic, and I made my shadow creatures, one after the other. Shadow creature after shadow creature that could not be stopped by anything in his deck. And all that Nemesis drew were lands. And within just 5 or 6 turns, the ReNDoG won the entire tournament. One of my proudest and happiest moments in my entire childhood. I will never forget it. I will never forget the salt that was flushing through that room on that day. The day that a 12-year-old beat the Nemesis of South African Magic. The day that a 12-year-old rocked up at the Magic store with a janky-ass deck of shadow creatures and took down the entire thing, beating every single player in his wake and taking the grand freaking prize of a tiny little plastic golden trophy. It was one of the best days of my whole freaking life, man. Well, guys, I really hope you enjoyed that little tale. I know that, I've spent the entire time just telling you guys a story, but I know that a lot of you guys out there like it when I do that. Hey, if you do like the storytelling episodes with ReNDoG, show me the love by liking the video, okay? If we get lots of likes on this video, I'll do some more storytelling for you guys in the future. I really love doing them, though. I really love telling the stories, but hey, maybe you guys don't really like hearing them. Anyway, if you guys have similar Magic the Gathering stories, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And while I was telling that story, man, my brain was pretty much on autopilot. I can't even remember what I did here, but I gotta say, it's looking freaking gorgeous, man. Isn't this looking amazing? I'm telling you guys, this block over here is the Lebowski block. This is the block that this Lush Mesa needed. And the last touch that we need to do to bring it to life, I think, is to get a little bit of proper green in here with the birch leaves. So let's place a few of these down, make a few bushes here and there. I'm going to need to get some light sources in here for nighttime too. Get some glowstone underneath these bushes. But let's just get a little bit more of this leaf action over here. And let's go back a bit and just sort of look at it from a distance and have a look at what it looks like. Oh man, look at that. That looks freaking awesome. I love it, man. That brown concrete powder is very subtle. It blends into the palette so well, doesn't it? I love that, man. Let's get a little bit of a further distance. Let's go up onto the roof and take a look from up there at this new palette idea that I've got here. Oh man, this concrete powder. Thank you, Mojang. I love you, man. You have given me so much joy with your concrete. I can't wait to try and use the other ones too to find uses for them. But have a look at that. That is amazing. I mean, compare this section here to this section here, right? You look here and there's something missing. You look here and it's complete. Oh, I love that. I am so freaking happy with this. Absolutely awesome. Well, guys, unfortunately, story time with ReNDoG means that we don't get to make enough progress. But if I'm honest with you, this is exactly what I wanted to do today. I hope you guys had a great time hanging out and listening to me today. If you did, remember to hit that like button, show me the love. And yeah, I guess I'm going to go for a walk or something. I'm not sure what I should do. I should probably just get back to grinding or something, right? Yeah, I think I'll just get back to grinding. Thank you so much for watching, guys. ReNDoG signing out from the Hermitcraft server. We will smell you all in the next episode. Get wrecked, Nemesis.